You know that sound, don't you? That first moment in the morning. You wake up, you swing your legs over the side of the bed, and your feet touch the floor. You push yourself up to stand, and then you hear it. Pop, crackle, snap. It's like a little campfire of dry twigs is crackling away inside your knees, your ankles, maybe even your hips. It's a sound that makes you feel 100 years old before you've even taken your first step. Then comes the feeling that follows the sound, that stiff, rusty, locked-up tightness in your knees or your knuckles. It's as if someone replaced your joint fluid with glue while you were sleeping. It takes you a good 10 minutes of shuffling, of doing that slow, careful, old person walk around the bedroom just to feel like your joints are greased up enough to bend properly. For most of us, the very next thing we do, the absolute first destination on our morning journey, is the kitchen. We don't even think about it. We head straight for the coffee pot, we scoop the grounds, start the machine, and wait for that magical gurgling sound. That rich, dark smell fills the room, and we think, finally, now my day can actually start. We wouldn't dream of giving up that morning ritual. It's not just a habit, it's a lifeline. It's the fuel that gets the engine turning. But there is a persistent whisper in the health world, a rumor that has been quietly scaring people over 50 for years. You might have heard it from a well-meaning friend or read it in a health magazine at the doctor's office. The rumor says that your beloved coffee habit is the very reason your joints are screaming at you. They say caffeine is a thief, that it sneaks into your body and sucks the moisture right out of your joints. They paint a picture of your plush, healthy cartilage, that beautiful cushion between your bones, shriveling up like a grape left in the sun until it becomes a hard little raisin. It's a genuinely terrifying thought. You love your coffee, but you value your mobility, your independence infinitely more. So you're stuck in this horrible tug-of-war. Do you suffer through the morning stiffness and the afternoon aches, or do you give up the one simple pleasure that brings you a moment of peace and joy in the morning? Here is the brutal reality. If you proudly drink your brew black, thinking you're safe because you skipped the sugar, you might still be making a critical mistake. A mistake that, according to recent orthopedic studies, can accelerate cartilage wear by as much as 30%. You are solving one problem, the sugar, but creating a much bigger, more insidious one. But here is the genuinely good news. You do not have to quit. You do not have to throw your coffee machine in the trash. I want you to hear me clearly on this. The latest science shows that coffee itself isn't the villain we've been told it is. It's not the bean, it's the process. The way we drink it, from the moment we wake up, is deeply flawed. There is a specific way to prepare and consume your coffee that actually protects and even nourishes your joints. But if you ignore this method, you are essentially trying to drive a classic car without a drop of oil in the engine. It might run for a little while, but the grinding is doing catastrophic damage under the hood. There is one critical mistake, a mineral theft that happens every time you drink a cup that makes all the other problems 10 times worse. I promise you, by the end of our time together, you are not only going to understand what this theft is, but you'll know a simple 10-second trick to stop the thief in his tracks. This is the key that unlocks everything. But first, to really grasp why this is so important, we need to get a crystal clear picture of what is actually happening inside that aching knee of yours. I want you to visualize a standard yellow kitchen sponge. You know the kind, with the green scrubby side. When that sponge is wet, sitting by the sink, it's plump, soft, and incredibly flexible. You can squeeze it into a tight ball, twist it, smash it flat on the counter, and the moment you let go, it bounces right back to its original shape. It absorbs shock perfectly. You can drop it, and it lands with a soft thud. That is exactly what your cartilage is supposed to do. It's a living, breathing shock absorber that sits between your bones, like the femur and the tibia in your knee, so they don't grind together, bone on bone. Now I want you to imagine that same sponge, but you left it out on a hot, sunny windowsill for 3 days. It's bone dry, it's stiff and light. What happens if you try to squeeze it now? It doesn't bounce. It's hard. It's brittle. If you try to force it to bend, it doesn't stretch. It cracks. It tears. Little yellow pieces crumble off into dust. This is the absolute nightmare scenario for your joints. The magical substance that keeps that cartilage sponge wet, plump, and bouncy is called synovial fluid. It's a thick, viscous liquid, almost like egg whites. It is, for all intents and purposes, the hydraulic fluid of your body. It lubricates, it nourishes, and it protects. We all know that coffee is a diuretic. That's just a fancy scientific word that means it makes you visit the bathroom more often. It contains compounds that signal your kidneys to flush water out of your system. So the logic seems painfully simple, right? You drink coffee, you lose water, your cartilage sponge dries out, and your knees hurt. It makes perfect sense on the surface. But the human body is infinitely more complex and intelligent than a sponge on a kitchen counter. The real answer to the question, does coffee dry out your knees, is yes, but absolutely not in the way you think. It isn't just about water evaporating from the sponge. It's about a grand heist, a robbery, taking place inside your kidneys every single morning. This is where the story gets a little twisted, and where most advice on this topic gets it completely wrong. People focus entirely on the water. They think, okay, coffee makes me pee, so I'll just drink more water, and I'll be fine. But hydration isn't just about the volume of water you drink. It's about chemistry. It's about what that water is holding on to. When caffeine hits your system, it acts like an alarm bell for your kidneys. It triggers a flushing mechanism, essentially telling the body's filtration system to speed up. When your body flushes fluid that quickly, it doesn't have time for careful sorting. It doesn't just push out pure water. It takes important passengers with it. It grabs onto vital minerals and electrolytes, things like sodium, potassium, and calcium, and drags them out the door. Think of it like washing a precious classic car. If you use a gentle, misty hose, you can rinse off the surface dust without disturbing the expensive wax job underneath. But caffeine is like hitting that car with a high-pressure fire hose. You're not just rinsing off the dirt, you're blasting the protective wax right off the paint. Caffeine acts like that high-pressure hose on your system. It strips away specific minerals that act as the glue for your connective tissues and the relaxers for your muscles. When you lose these critical minerals, your entire body tightens up. Your muscles become rigid and short. And when the big muscles that cross your knee joint get rigid, they pull on the joint constantly, dramatically increasing the pressure and friction inside. The feeling of dryness is often actually a feeling of intense compression. There is one specific mineral, however, that coffee strips from your system faster and more aggressively than almost any other. It is the single most important mineral for your physical comfort, your muscle function, and your joint health. Without it, your joints cannot fully relax, and your body cannot properly repair the daily wear and tear that life puts on them. The scary part is, data from the National Institutes of Health shows that nearly half of all older adults are already deficient in this mineral, and their morning coffee ritual is making the problem exponentially worse every single day. I am going to tell you exactly what this master mineral is and give you that 10-second trick to block the coffee-driven theft in just a few minutes. But first, we have to look at what you are putting in the cup because for many of you, the coffee bean itself isn't the primary problem at all. Let's talk about what I call the inflammation bomb. A lot of people who are into health worry about caffeine raising their cortisol levels. Cortisol is the body's main stress hormone. And yes, coffee does raise it a tiny bit, and chronic stress absolutely creates inflammation. But let's be realistic. Unless you are chugging 10 cups of espresso a day, the cortisol spike from a normal cup or two of coffee is negligible. It's a drop in the bucket. It is not enough to single-handedly wreck your knees. The real joint killer, the true villain hiding in plain sight, is the white poison that most people shovel into their mugs without a second thought. I'm talking about refined sugar, and those sweet flavored artificial creamers. When you combine the stimulating effects of caffeine with a massive rapid-fire hit of sugar, you are creating a chemical catastrophe in your bloodstream. Sugar triggers a devastating process in the body called glycation. To understand this, just imagine taking a slice of apple and leaving it on the counter. Over time, it turns brown, gets soft, and becomes sticky. That's a combination of oxidation and glycation happening right before your eyes. Inside your body, excess sugar molecules literally bond with proteins, like the collagen and elastin that make up your cartilage, to form sticky, dysfunctional compounds. Scientists have a fitting acronym for these: AGEs. It stands for Advanced Glycation End Products. Think of AGs as internal rust. Or, even better, think of them as microscopic bits of caramel. This sticky rust loves to accumulate in your connective tissues. It settles in your cartilage, your tendons, and your ligaments. It makes the normally smooth, parallel collagen fibers stiff, brittle, and tangled. So, even if you are perfectly hydrated, even if you are doing everything else right, if you are loading your coffee with sugar, you are cementing your joints into a stiff, painful position from the inside out. You are literally caramelizing your knees. And those artificial creamers? They are often just as bad, if not worse. They are frequently loaded with inflammatory vegetable oils like soybean or cottonseed oil and trans fats, which directly irritate the delicate lining of your joints, a membrane called the synovium, causing a low-grade, constant state of inflammation. Quick, honest question for you, and there's no judgment here. How do you take your coffee? Are you a purist who takes it black? Do you add a spoonful of sugar and some creamer? Or maybe you use a sugar substitute? Let me know in the comments below. It's really helpful to see how we all navigate this morning ritual. Now, let's get to the solutions. Let's fix the hydration issue first, because it's the foundation for everything else. You do not need to stop drinking coffee to save your cartilage sponge. You just need to be smarter about how you do it. You need to buffer it. We call this the water sandwich protocol. It is, without a doubt, the single highest leverage habit you can build to protect your kidneys from working overtime and to ensure your joints get the fluid they need. Here are the simple mechanics of it. Your stomach lining absorbs liquid incredibly fast, especially when it's empty after a long night's sleep. If the very first thing that hits your empty stomach in the morning is a highly acidic, concentrated liquid like coffee, your body goes into a reactive, almost panicked state. Your kidneys kick into overdrive to process the sudden influx of caffeine and acids, and the diuretic effect is maximized because you are almost certainly dehydrated from sleeping and breathing for 8 hours. You are essentially pouring a diuretic into a dry tank, which is the worst possible scenario. The rule is beautifully simple. You sandwich your coffee between 2 glasses of water. You drink 1 full 8-ounce glass of plain water before you take your very first sip of coffee, and you drink another full glass of water after you finish your cup. The water you drink beforehand does 2 critical things. It prehydrates all your body's tissues, and it dilutes the acid in your stomach. It sends a calm signal to your kidneys, essentially saying, hey, we have plenty of fluid on board. You don't need to panic and flush everything. The glass of water after it replenishes any fluid that might be lost and helps to further balance your body's pH. Try this simple setup. Before you go to bed, place a clean glass and a pitcher of water right next to your coffee machine. Make it part of your evening routine. When you walk into the kitchen in the morning, groggy and ready for your caffeine fix, the first thing you'll see is the water. While the coffee is brewing and that lovely smell is filling the air, drink that entire glass of water. Don't let yourself touch your favorite mug until the water glass is empty. It's a tiny, simple barrier that creates a profoundly positive chemical reaction, paying huge dividends for your knees, your skin, and your energy levels. But there's another crucial factor that makes that drying effect feel so much worse, and it has nothing to do with what you drink. It's the lack of movement. We have a saying in the joint health world, motion is lotion. This isn't just a catchy rhyme, it is a fundamental biological fact. Remember our sponge analogy? Well, here's a fascinating detail. Your joint cartilage has no direct blood supply. It doesn't have arteries and capillaries pumping fresh blood, oxygen, and nutrients into it the way your muscles do. The only way your cartilage gets fresh fluid and nutrients is through a process of compression and decompression. It's a mechanical process. You have to physically squish the sponge to push the old, dirty, metabolic waste-filled fluid out, and then release the pressure to allow it to suck fresh, nutrient-rich synovial fluid back in. That is literally how cartilage eats and stays healthy. The scientific term for this is imbibition. Now, think about the typical coffee ritual. You pour a cup, you walk over to your favorite chair, you sit down, and you stay there, perfectly still, for 30 minutes reading the news or watching TV. You are pouring a diuretic into your system while simultaneously keeping your joints completely stagnant. It is a devastating double whammy. You are encouraging fluid to leave your system while giving your knees absolutely no mechanical signal to draw fresh fluid in. We need to break this pattern. We need to add some gentle, low-load movement. We need to gently pump that cartilage sponge while you enjoy your brew. This ensures that the fluid you do have in your body gets directed to the right place, your joints. Safety first, always. Stop immediately if you feel any sharp or pinching pain. And please, talk to your clinician if you have serious balance issues, joint replacements, or heart conditions before trying any new movement. But for most, this is extremely gentle and safe. Try this. While you are seated in your chair enjoying your coffee, simply sit up tall and extend one leg out straight in front of you parallel to the floor. Now, pretending your big toe is a paintbrush, draw 5 big, slow, deliberate circles in the air to the right. Then reverse it and draw 5 slow circles to the left. You should feel a gentle sensation in your knee joint. Then switch legs and repeat. This simple rotary motion lubricates the entire knee joint without putting any body weight or stress on it. It's a direct signal to your body saying, "Hey, send the lotion here." Next, let's talk about the acid burn. Coffee is acidic, we know this. But for many older adults whose digestive systems might be a bit more sensitive, that acidity doesn't just unsettle the stomach. It seems to create a systemic feeling of inflammation. You might notice that you feel more creaky or your knuckles feel more swollen an hour after drinking your coffee. You don't need medication to fix this, you just need a buffer. Think of it like putting out a small campfire. You wouldn't use a fire hose, you just toss a little sand on it. You want to pair that acidic coffee with something alkaline to neutralize the burn before it has a chance to hit your bloodstream. Try this. Never, ever drink coffee on a completely naked stomach. The simplest trick is to eat just 5 or 6 raw unsalted almonds or a few slices of a melon like cantaloupe alongside your coffee. These foods are alkaline heavyweights. They act as a chemical shield in your stomach, balancing the pH so you get the wonderful energy and focus from the coffee without the acidic inflammatory backlash. Now it's time. Remember that mineral thief I mentioned at the very beginning? The one specific mineral that coffee mercilessly strips away, leaving your muscles tight and your joints feeling compressed and achy? We need to close that loop because this is the absolute secret to unlocking pain-free coffee drinking for life. That mineral is magnesium. Magnesium is the master relaxation mineral of the body. It is the yin to calcium's yang. In the simplest terms, calcium is responsible for making muscles contract, magnesium is responsible for making them relax. It is the off switch. It keeps the huge muscles around your knee, your quadriceps, hamstrings, and calves soft, supple, and pliable. When those muscles are relaxed, they don't constantly pull and torque the kneecap. They don't grind the joint surfaces together. There's space inside the joint. Coffee is notorious for telling the kidneys to flush magnesium out through your urine. It is one of the most significant dietary factors in magnesium loss. If you drink coffee every day and you are not actively and consciously replacing that magnesium, you are almost certainly running on empty. A chronic, low-grade magnesium deficiency means your muscles stay in a constant state of semi-contraction. They are always a little bit tight. This tension pulls the joint surfaces together, increasing friction and wear. That dry feeling you have in your knees might not be a lack of fluid at all. It might be the sensation of tight muscles compressing the joint because they are literally starving for magnesium. The fix is incredibly simple and powerful. You need to put back what the coffee takes out. You can do this by adding a tiny pinch, I'm talking about the size of a lentil, of a high-quality sea salt or pink Himalayan salt to your water sandwich water. Unlike refined table salt, these natural salts contain dozens of trace minerals, including magnesium. Or, even better, you can snack on a small handful of pumpkin seeds with your coffee. Pumpkin seeds are one of the most potent natural sources of magnesium on the planet. This simple act blocks the theft. You keep your magnesium levels high, your muscles stay loose, and your joints can breathe. If you want to take this to the absolute pro level, if you want to turn the tables completely, there is one more thing you can do. You can turn your perceived enemy into your greatest ally. You can transform your morning cup from a potential problem into a joint healing potion. Since coffee is hot, it acts as a perfect solvent. It dissolves powders instantly. This makes it the ideal delivery system for a scoop of hydrolyzed collagen. Collagen is the literal raw material your body uses to rebuild cartilage. It provides the specific amino acids, glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline, that are the essential building blocks for that cartilage sponge in your knee. Think of it as delivering a truckload of fresh bricks directly to the construction site. Adding a scoop of a high-quality, unflavored hydrolyzed collagen peptide powder to your coffee does two amazing things simultaneously. First, the protein in the collagen actually buffers the absorption of the caffeine, giving you a smoother, steadier energy lift without the jitters or the crash. Second, and most importantly, it delivers the raw repair materials directly to your joints at the exact moment you are stimulating them with your gentle seated movements. It is tasteless, it dissolves completely, and its effects on joint comfort are confirmed by numerous studies from institutions like Penn State University. If you want more simple food hacks like this that turn your everyday habits into powerful health boosters, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. So, let's look at the final verdict. Coffee is not the enemy. You do not have to live a life without your morning joy. Dehydration, sugar bombs, stagnation, and mineral loss, those are the true enemies of your joints. Let's recap your new, smarter protocol. You are going to use the water sandwich. 1 glass of water before, 1 glass after. You are going to ditch the sugar and the fake creamers and maybe swap in a scoop of collagen powder. You are going to do some gentle toe circles while you sit to pump that healing fluid into your knees. And you are going to protect your master relaxation mineral, magnesium, with a tiny pinch of sea salt in your water or a handful of pumpkin seeds. You can keep your ritual. You just have to make it smarter. Your joints will thank you for the extra thought and care, and you will very likely find that the morning sound tag of pops, cracks, and snaps begins to fade away. Now, check out our other great video on a related topic, 3 morning stretches to eliminate knee stiffness. Tap the card on the screen right now to keep learning how to protect your precious mobility. I'll see you over there.